Hey there, you. We all know you're smart and busy, but also curious about the why behind things, especially when it comes to your life.
Definitely.
And you've probably got a stack of articles about attracting the right people,
Hmm.
which, let's face it, can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
That's where we come in.
Right.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into a HuffPost piece from June 2018 called 7 Reasons
Uh-huh.
You're Attracting the Wrong People.
Okay.
Even though it's a few years old, the insights are timeless.
It's interesting, right? It still resonates. Like we see this all the time. The people we attract are often a reflection of our own inner world.
Oh, that inner world concept. The first point is all about authenticity.
Yeah.
Being yourself, flaws and all, to attract the right people.
Right.
But how do you balance that? What if some of my quirks are kind of off-putting?
That's a great question. Being authentic doesn't mean you have to air all your dirty laundry on a first date or anything. It's more about aligning your actions and your values. Think of it like this. When you try to be someone you're not, you're putting out inauthentic energy, and people can sense that. It's like squeezing into shoes that are 2 sizes too small. Uncomfortable for everyone.
Right, you're not fooling anyone by pretending to love hiking if you'd rather be curled up with a good book.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting. This authenticity idea ties into the article's second point about avoiding fantasies.
Oh, yeah.
We all do it. See a cute photo, read a witty bio. Suddenly you're building this whole narrative about who this person is.
Oh, I know. I once went on a date with a guy who seemed perfect online, but turns out he was using photos from 10 years and 20 pounds ago.
Ouch.
Yeah, talk about a reality check.
That's a perfect example of fantasy versus reality. The article really emphasizes being mindful when dating, so you don't fall into these traps.
So instead of getting lost in the what ifs, I need to be more present and see the person for who they actually are.
Exactly. Mindfulness in dating is about really listening, observing, asking yourself, do their actions match their words? Do I feel respected and heard? It's about being present, not lost in a fantasy.
So no more planning our wedding after 2 text messages?
Exactly. Speaking of getting ahead of ourselves, the article's next point dives into self-worth.
Okay.
It says that if you believe you're unworthy of love, you can actually sabotage your chances of finding it.
Oof, that's a tough one. A lot of people struggle with feeling worthy of love. What does that even mean?
Yeah, it's so common. It comes from past experiences or societal messages we internalize. True self-worth isn't about being perfect or achieving things. It's about recognizing your inherent value as a human being. And that radiates outwards.
So it's not about fixing myself to be worthy of love, but more about accepting myself as I am right now.
Yes, you are worthy of love and belonging just because you exist. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to prove it.
I love that. And it makes me think about that whole perfect match idea, which the article also talks about. I mean, who hasn't looked for someone who checks every single box on their list?
Oh, it's a trap we've all fallen into. This idea that there's one perfect person out there is a myth. We're all complex and messy humans with flaws and quirks. Healthy relationships are about finding someone who complements you, not completes you.
So how do you find that balance between having standards and being open to someone who might not be perfect on paper?
That's where self-awareness comes in. Ask yourself, are my standards based on real needs and values? Or are they fueled by societal pressures or past hurts? It's also key to be open to the unexpected. Sometimes the most fulfilling relationships come from the people we least expect.
This is making me rethink my whole approach to dating. Okay, let's move on to something a bit sensitive, baggage. The article says that unresolved issues from the past can affect our ability to attract healthy relationships.
So true. I like to think of it as unfinished business rather than baggage. We all have experiences that have shaped us. But the key is being aware of them and how they might be influencing our choices.
So everyone has something they're working through. It's not like you have to be perfectly healed before you can date.
Exactly. It's about being self-aware and willing to address those unfinished chapters. And that willingness to do the work is attractive to the right person.
That's reassuring. It's like we're all in this together, figuring things out as we go.
Absolutely. We're all works in progress, and that's okay.
It's funny how we always hear that saying you have to love yourself before you can love someone else.
Right.
But actually putting that into practice can feel so abstract.
It is. Like, it's easier said than done.
Totally.
This article really gets into that, especially when it talks about wanting a partner versus needing a partner.
Oh, that was a huge aha moment for
Yeah.
me. Because if you're coming from a place of neediness, you're setting yourself up for unhealthy dynamics.
You are. If you're looking for someone to complete you or fix all your problems, that's not going to end well. But when you're content and fulfilled on your own, a partner becomes an addition to your life, not a lifeline.
Right. So how do you make that shift? How do you go from needing to wanting a partner?
It's all about focusing on your own personal growth and fulfillment. Are you pursuing your passions? Do you have a support system? Are you taking care of your physical and mental health? These are the building blocks of a solid foundation for any relationship,
Yeah.
romantic or otherwise.
So it's not about becoming some perfect version of yourself before you can date. It's more about being whole and complete on your own.
Exactly. When you're genuinely happy with your life,
Mhm.
you don't need someone else to validate you or make you feel worthy. And that confidence, that self-assuredness, it's magnetic.
It is. It's like you're not searching for a missing piece. You're
No.
inviting someone to join you on an already amazing journey.
Exactly. And that brings us back to attracting the right people. When you're not coming from a place of need, you attract people who are also secure in themselves, people looking for a true partnership,
Yeah.
not codependency.
That makes me wonder if these same principles apply to other areas of life, like work or friendships.
Absolutely. Think about it. If you're applying for jobs feeling insecure and desperate, it's going to show in interviews.
It will.
But if you believe in your skills and value,
Mhm.
you'll project confidence and authenticity, which are huge assets anywhere.
So true. I've definitely noticed that when I'm feeling confident and self-assured, I attract better opportunities, whether it's my career or my personal life.
It's like sending out a signal,
Yeah.
saying, hey, I'm valuable, I have something to offer, and I'm not afraid to show it.
Hmm.
That energy is contagious.
It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe in yourself, other people will too.
It is. And, a big part of that is being mindful of your self-talk. We all have that inner critic,
Mm.
but if we're constantly putting ourselves down, it affects everything.
Oh, for sure. I'm the queen of negative self-talk. But I've been working on reframing those thoughts. Like instead of saying I'm such a failure, I'll try to say, okay, this didn't go as planned, but what can I learn from it?
That's a great example. It's about shifting from self-criticism to self-compassion. And this ties back to what we were saying about unfinished business. Those negative thoughts often come from past experiences or beliefs we've internalized.
So we have to address those underlying issues if we want to change our self-talk and ultimately our reality.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
a process, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
When you start to heal those old wounds and challenge those limiting beliefs, you make room for positive change everywhere.
Yeah. This is making me realize that attracting the right people isn't about manipulating or forcing things. It's about doing the inner work to become the best version of yourself.
It's about alignment. When you're aligned with your true self, your values, and your goals, you naturally attract people who are on the same wavelength. It's not about trying to fit a mold or be someone you're not. It's about shining your unique light and trusting that the right people will be drawn to it.
I love that analogy. Like, your authentic self is a beacon, and the right people will see it from miles away.
And those are the people who will appreciate you for who you are. Flaws and all. They're not looking for a perfect partner. They're looking for a real, genuine connection.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I'm starting to understand what it really means to attract the right people.
Me too. It's interesting to think about how these patterns we've been talking about often show up in relationships without us realizing it.
What do you mean by patterns? Like repeating the same mistakes in relationships?
Exactly. It's like we're drawn to familiar dynamics even if they're not healthy. We might keep attracting emotionally unavailable partners or ending up in relationships that are codependent or dysfunctional.
So these unhealthy relationship patterns, why do we keep repeating them? It's like we're drawn to the same type of person even when we know it's not good for us.
It is fascinating, isn't it? They often operate on a subconscious level, like our brains are wired to seek out what's familiar, even if it's not healthy.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do you break free? How do we stop attracting the same not so great partners?
Well, the first step is awareness. Start paying attention to the types of people you're drawn to. What qualities do they share? What are the relationship dynamics like? Once you see the pattern, you can explore why you're attracted to it.
So it's not enough to just say, I always date emotionally unavailable people. I need to understand why I'm drawn to that type.
Exactly. Often these patterns come from our childhood experiences and the attachments we formed with our caregivers.
Okay.
For example, if you had a parent who was emotionally distant or inconsistent, you might find yourself unconsciously seeking out partners with similar traits.
Oh, wow. So we're trying to recreate those early dynamics, even if they weren't healthy, almost like trying to rewrite the past.
That's a great way to put it. It's like trying to resolve those old wounds,
Mm.
or maybe even prove we can get the love and validation we didn't get as kids.
This makes a lot of sense. But it also feels kind of daunting. How do you undo years of conditioning?
It is a process. And therapy can be really helpful. A good therapist can help you identify those patterns, understand their origins, and develop new, healthier ways of relating to others.
So therapy can help us rewire those subconscious patterns.
Exactly. It's like retraining your brain to recognize and choose what's truly good for you, not just what's familiar.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. We've really gotten to the heart of attracting the right people. It's not about tricks or techniques. It's about doing the work to become the best version of yourself.
You've got it. It's about healing those old wounds, challenging those limiting beliefs, and learning to love and accept ourselves unconditionally. And when we do that, we change the energy we put out. We become a magnet for people who are aligned with our authentic selves.
And those are the people who will truly appreciate us, not for who they think we should be, but for who we really are. It's like saying, here I am, world, to take it or leave it.
And the right people will say, I'll take it. They'll see your flaws, your quirks, your vulnerabilities, and they'll love you even more for it.
This has been such an empowering deep dive. We've covered so much, from authenticity and self-worth to mindfulness and breaking free from those unhealthy patterns. I feel like we've given our listeners a whole new toolbox for attracting the right people.
I hope so. Remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself. Keep learning, keep growing, and trust that the right people will find you.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into attracting the right people. And until next time, keep diving deep